Hello everyone, in this video I will go over the solutions to participation number 1. Number 1 part A is absolute value equation. Remember the absolute value equations have technically two equations. So if the absolute value 2x minus 5 equals to 7, that actually means that 2x minus 5 is equals to 7, or 2x minus 5 is equals to minus 7. The only thing you have to make sure you check before that is that this is a positive value, which it is. If this was negative, then automatically you have a no solution and there is no need to do anything else. Since this is positive and there is nothing between the absolute value and the equal sign, then these are the two equations you get. And then you solve the linear equation. So you add 5 to each side. So you have 2x equals to 12 in this case. So x equals to 6 is the first solution. On this side, you have 2x equals to minus 2, or x equals to minus 1 is the second solution. Part B is slightly different because you have x in both sides. The best way to look at this is the following. If you have two equations that have the same absolute value, that means that the two equations have to be the same, which will give you the first equation to solve. Or it means that one is the opposite of the other. Now, it doesn't matter if you put a minus sign in here or in here, but this is usually the convention. Just make sure you distribute when we solve this side, okay? So then just put the x's on one side. So notice that this cancel. 7x minus 4x is 3x. Then you have 3x minus 6 equals to minus 9. Then this equation is just like the ones we just solved. So you have 3x plus 6 on both sides. So we get 3x equals to minus 3, or x equals to minus 1. That's the first solution. Here, make sure you distribute the sign. That's usually the most common mistake. So this will be minus 4x plus 9 now. And now you need to solve this equation. You're going to do it exactly the same way. So add 4x instead of subtracting 4x this time. This cancel, just like it canceling here. Now 7x plus 4x is 11x. So it's 11x minus 6 equals to 9. Add 6 to both sides. And we have 11x equals to 15, or x equals to 15 over 11. And that's it. No need to simplify. All right, so let's move to number 2. And number 2 is the absolute value inequality. Remember, like I mentioned on part A of the first problem, you always have to make sure that the absolute value is by itself, which is not in this case yet, and then that this value is positive once this is by itself. Remember that if this is negative, there is no solution. In this case, you need to subtract 2 in both sides to have the absolute value by itself. So here we have 4x minus 3 is greater or equals to 5. And as you can see, this is positive, so this is okay. That means you can solve the problem. Now you have two types of absolute value inequalities. If the equation is like this, greater or equals to k, then the equations you have to solve are the following. Y is either greater or equals to k, or y is less than equals to minus k, where this represents y and this represents k. All right, so if we follow the formula, this is what we get from here. We will have the 4x minus 3 is greater or equals to 5, or for x minus 3 is less than or equals to negative 5. And then you solve the equations. So add 3 to both sides. This will give you for x greater or equals to a, or a is greater or equals to 2. You divide by 5 on both sides. Here we have for x less than or equals to minus 2, or x less than or equals to minus 2 over 4, or minus 1/2. Then graph the solution, even if they don't ask you. So minus 1/2 is somewhere here. This is 1, 2 is here. So greater or equals to 2 is this part. And less than or equals to minus 1/2 is this part. Now in interval notation, this will be minus infinity to negative 1/2 with a bracket. Or remember, this will give you this happy face symbol, or the intersection, and this is 2 to infinity. So here is the solution in interval notation, this or this. Question number 3, you just had to read the graph and find the solution from there. Just as something to notice, every time that the question is asking you to read a graph and get a solution, these questions are always pretty easy. Okay, so just remember that if you need to read a graph to get a solution, then this question will be very easy. Now here, notice that the graph is from minus 5 to 3, including the 5 but not including 3. So in interval notation is this, minus 5, comma, 3. Actually, this is the one that is parenthesis. And this one should be a bracket. Okay, so it should be like this. Now, if you write it in an equation, this is minus 5 less than or equals to x less than 3. So this, and this is exactly the same thing, just in 3 different formats. All right, now, this one is an interval notation from 3 to infinity, because it keeps going here. And this one is from minus infinity to minus 3. Since they are going in opposite directions, which is the case here and here, then this is a union, so it will be this. You don't want to write this symbol, you can just write or, but you need to be aware they are the same thing. Or in equations, this will be x is less than or equals to minus 3. And here x is greater than 3. So notice that if there is a bracket, it has an equal sign. If it's a parenthesis, there is no equal sign in the inequality. All right, so let's go now to question number 4. All right, so now let's go to number 4, which is a word problem. People are usually scared of word problems, but the good thing about a word problem is that it's actually not that hard to solve. It may be a little hard at the beginning to set it up, but to actually solve it is not that hard. All right, so in this problem, we have the following. Nacho has a collection of pens and keychains. So let's say that P is the number of pens. You can also use X and Y. And let's say K is the number of keychains. Okay? So let's see the equations we get from here. So the first thing you need to pick up is this. The number of pens is 3 more than twice the number of keychains. How do we write an equation like that? So it says the number of pens, which is P, is equals to 3 more then twice the number of key change. So this will be 2k plus 3, or you can also write p is equals to k, 3 plus 2k, still the same thing, okay? Now the total, well, total means what? Depends plus the key change, so that means that p plus k is equals to 39. So these are the two equations you have. Notice that here you have p plus k equals 39, and here you already have an equation for p in terms of k. So therefore, if we focus on this equation, remember p plus k has to be 39, but the first equation is telling you that p is 2k plus 3. So therefore, 2k plus 3 plus k is 39. If you combine like terms, you're going to have 2k, actually 3k, because you have 2k in here, plus k, that will give you 3k. So then we have 3k plus 3 equals to 39, or 3k equals to 36, which means that k is what? 12. Okay. Now to find the number of pence, you can just now substitute in here. P is going to be 2 times 12 plus 3. So this is 24 plus 3, which is 27. And you can check that the total 27 plus 12 is 39. So that's one way to check that this is correct. By the way, this is not the only way to do it. You can also do it in a different way. And by a different way, I mean you can solve the equations in a slightly different way, but it doesn't matter how you do it, you will get the same answer. All right, let's go to part B. Part B says the following. Kevin is having a party. He goes to a nearby restaurant and buys burritos and hamburgers, okay? So let's say B is gonna be the number of burritos. So these are the two variables we're trying to find. And H obviously will be the number of hamburgers. Problems of this kind always require you have two equations. You notice here how you have two equations. You cannot solve this with one equation only, so you need to have two. So here's the information for the first equation. It says that the number of hamburgers is 6 more than the number of burritos, which means H, the number of hamburgers, is going to be equals to 6 more than the number of burritos. So that will be B plus 6. So that's the first equation. Okay. And like I just mentioned right now, you need to have two equations. Then he says, if he spent a total of $102 and the price for a burrito is 4 and the price for a hamburger is 3, how many burritos and how many hamburgers did he buy? So essentially it's asking you to find again H, which is what I told you anyways. Now, if the total is 102, how do you get to the total? Well, the total is going to be the number of burritos, which is B, times the price for a burrito, which is $4, plus the number of hamburgers, which is H, times the price for a hamburger, which is 3. So this is the total amount for the burritos, this is the total amount for the hamburgers, and together this is equal to 102. That's what the second or the third line says. This is how we get the second equation. And the one in green gives you the first equation. So now you have two equations. Since this one is already solved for H, you can just substitute in this one. So notice that here we have 4B plus 3H, but H is the same thing as B plus 6. And this is equals to 102. So now notice how now you only have one variable. You can solve it. So we have 4b plus 3b plus 18 is equals to 102. If you combine the variables, you have 7b plus 18 is equals to 102. Then subtract 18 from both sides, just like you do for any linear equation. So you have 7b is equals to 84. Then you divide by 7, it will give you the value for b, which is 12. So that means the Kevin bought 12 burritos. We still need to figure out the value for the hamburgers, but remember the number of hamburgers was equals to the number of burritos, which is 12, plus 6 more. So this will be 18. All right, so finally, question number 5. They already give you the solution in interval notation, but they want you to express it in simplest terms. So this is what it means. So here you have technically two equations. So always put 0 for reference. Minus 3 is here. A is here. So in this case it says anything that is less than minus 3, which is this, and bigger than A, which is this. So notice that for this particular case, the two don't intersect. The sad face means where they intersect. Since they don't intersect anywhere, this is the empty set, so there is no solution for this. All right, now this one is the following: 0 here, 3 is here, 5 is here. So less than, oh no, that's not less, it's between minus A. So let's say minus A is here. Minus 8 to 5, that's the first one, which is this. Or 3 to A. So 3 is here. Let's say this keeps going, and A is here. So it will be this part. Since this is OR, it will be both of them. So therefore, in simplest form, notice that this one has a bracket. It's going to go from minus A to A. So this will be from minus A, comma A, just that this one is a bracket. Okay. Now it's very important that you understand the difference between the union, or what I call happy face, and the intersection, which is the sad face. This one means this or this is okay, or both, while this one means only they have something in common. Okay. So for example, if we flip the inequality here, or the sign in here, this is what I mean by flip. If the question was like this instead the intersection, then you will only use wherever they intersect. And notice that they intersect between 3 to 5. So it will be this part and this part. So therefore the intersection for that, it will be between 3 and 5. And this will be the answer.